Good. 6, -4 is going to be in quadrant 4. What about a -11, 6? -11, 6. Anna.
Quadrant 2.
Quadrant 2. And Griffin, take the last one. Quadrant
4.
-8, -2.
3.
Quadrant 3. Second one asks you to find and write the missing coordinates for points A and B. What did you have for point A? What were your missing values or the coordinates for point A? David?
-1.5, comma 1.5.
Good. If you put them in fraction form, which would have also worked, -1.5, 1.5 would have worked. Both of those would be correct there. Miles, go ahead and take point B.
0.5, -1.5.
0.5, -1.5, or 1/2, -1.5 would have worked there. Very good. Questions on any of those? Okay, yesterday at the end of class, we started to work on this determining scale worksheet. Go ahead and pull that back out. We're going to finish that up first. Take this out of your binder, please. Okay, I believe in here at the end of class yesterday, we started doing this in table groups. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm going to give you like 8 to 10 minutes to try to wrap up just this side of the worksheet with your table groups. What I told you yesterday, though, these questions A and B, I told you to skip them. I want to go over what you are supposed to do on these, and then you can go back in and answer these. So question A says, which of the original points on the grid satisfies the conditions x is less than 2 and y is less than 1? So basically what that's looking for you to do is look at this original graph. We're looking for points that have an x value less than 2 and a y value less than 1. I would look and see, okay, here's x is 2. This is my x is 2 value. Anything before that would be x is less than 2. And then y is less than 1. Here's my y is 1 value. So anything less than that. And I'm looking for points that kind of fall in that cross section and meet both of those criteria. There should be more than one answer for both A and B there. Okay? So in about 8-ish minutes, we're going to go over answers to this side of the worksheet. Okay, check it. And then we'll get new seats after this. I didn't want to switch seats at the beginning of class since I had you working in these table groups yesterday to then split you up. Wouldn't make a lot of sense. So we're going to finish this up and then we'll do new seats. Ready, set, go. All right, so let's check the top section first. Take a minute, compare what you have on your paper to what's up there. If you have questions, let me know. Go ahead and correct in red pen. Yeah, if you had them in decimal form, that's okay.
There's no other,
Oops. All right. Scrolling down, here's what we should have had for 7 and 8. Same thing, if you put those in decimal form for number 8, that's okay as well. 1.5 is 1.5. 3/4 is 0.75. 1 1/4 is 1.25. So any of those would have worked. Take a second, check those. And then I'm going to show you the bottom one and we'll talk through that together because not everyone's bottom question necessarily is going to look the exact same. All right, so the reason why the bottom one might not look the same is because it told you that you got to label the scale and you had to label a scale that you chose to best display the data. So that means that you and I might not have agreed on what the best scale was. To me, I looked at the points and saw that the biggest number was a -1.5 in terms of how far away from 0 I had to go. So to me, it made most sense to make my scale 1/2 again here. And that's what I made mine. If you chose something different, yours probably looked a little bit different. Okay, but you should be checking to see that your 4 points ended up in the same kind of region. 2 on the x-axis, and then 1 in quadrant 1 and 1 in quadrant 3. Okay. Any questions? All right, red pens can get put away. Papers are going to stay out because we're going to do the back of it towards the end of class, but we're going to switch seats first. Here we go. So I have a graph up here. This is not on your paper. It's just up on the board. The graph that you are going to look at and interpret, and I've got 5 people listed at the bottom. those 5 points match up with the 5 people, teenage basketballer, a grandmother, a boy, a baby, and a father. You need to tell me what points match up with which people. So once you have one that you think is, oh, I know this is this person, raise your hand and we'll write it down. Lola?
A is baby.
A, Lola says, is the baby. Okay, I'm just going to write what you tell me and then we can discuss if we don't all agree. Quinn, what do you think?
B for boy.
B is for boy. Emmy,
D is for basketball.
which point? I couldn't hear. D, you said? I just can't hear what you're saying.
She said, I don't really think it's D, but yeah.
Don't really think it's D, but yes. So do you want me to write that down or come back? Okay, Miles?
E's the baller.
E is the basketballer. Huh. Okay. Griffin.
Wait, can I make a disagreement?
Okay, so we've got our first disagreement. Listen. Go ahead.
I think the basketballer is C, because the basketballer might be taller than the grandma.
Okay, so change that to C.
If it's a basketballer, it's gotta be the tallest.
I'm going to put or E. Hang on. We'll keep going. I'm going to leave them both up there for now. Alice.
D for grandma.
Great. D for grandmother. So the father would be C or E as well?
Yes.
Okay. E is the dad?
E's the baller. E's the baller. E's the baller.
Oh gosh. All right, so I'm hearing both ways. Who can convince me one way or the other? Emily.
E would most likely be the person who plays basketball because they're younger than person C. And teenager would probably be younger than a father.
Okay. So Emily acknowledged the height, but what she's focusing on. So, yes, looking at the height, but Emily keyed in on the fact that the X value is the age. So the farther to the right we go, the age gets older. And if we're comparing a teenage basketballer to their father, which one of these has to be the older person? The father. So C is going to be the father. And the teenage basketball player is going to be E. Let me erase that and move that closer. So there are some kind of stereotypes going into this, right? That, wow, the teenage basketballer, because they play basketball, they're really tall. That's kind of an assumption, but it ended up having to be that way, not because of the height, but because of the age. Okay? Very good. Excellent. Those are all correct now. Nicely done. All right, last thing we're going to look at. And we're going to start this skill today. We'll finish it on Monday, and then we've got just one more thing to wrap up with graphs on Monday. Is taking a table, so table like that at the bottom of the page, and pulling points off of it to graph on the point. So I put together a table that shows how much money I make as a teacher per hour. So it's up here for you to see. So for 1 hour, I've got the equivalent dollar amount here, okay? And that gives you kind of what your teachers are getting every day here, being here with you. So if I look at this table, how would I figure out what the points are here? What might be the first point, Audrey, I would graph looking at this table? What do you think?
The X is ours, so the first point would be 1.
And what is the Y?
Dollars.
Yep, so right here it's telling us the top row is our X value, ours. The bottom row of the table is Y, and it's the dollars. So that's how every table is going to be set up. The first value is going to be our X value. The second value is going to be the Y value. So the first point would be 1 hour, $2. What would be the second point that I could pull off of this table to graph? Second point.
2 hours.
Cam?
2 hours.
2 hours and what? That's not a point. Give me the full point.
2 like /4.
2 comma 4. So 2 hours is $4. Miles, what's the next point?
3 6.
3, 6. And what's the last point on this table? Skylar. 4, 8 would be the last point on this table. So you can see that each of those ordered pairs kind of comes from a set on the table right here. Those are my X and Y values. So if I was trying to figure out if I worked a full 7-hour day, how much money would I have at the end, Griffin, of a full...
$16, 1 3/4.
Hang on.
1.7 or
So how do I go, look at, how much?
13, 14.
$14. So if we look at these other these other points, for every hour worked, there's $2 earned. So it's times 2. So 7 hours times 2 would be $14 at the end of the day. Okay? This job is just very glamorous. We don't do it for the money. We do it for the fame and the glory. And
You make more than $2.
I'm going to let you decide if you think that's realistic or not. All right, let's look at one more, then you're going to try a couple. So here's a new table showing cups of flour and cups of water. So for a recipe, how many cups of flour versus how many cups of water? So again, our top row or our first value is our X, and that's labeled here. Our bottom row is our Y. So what's the first point looking at this table that I would graph? Skylar. Over 2, up 1. Very good. What would be the second point that I would graph? Autumn. 4, 2. What would be the third point I would graph? 6, 3. And the fourth point? 8, 4. Very good. Question then says, how many cups of flour do you need, for 5 cups of water? So if I had 5 cups of water, how many cups of flour would I need, Audrey? 10. So the cups of flour is double the cups of water. Good. So on the back of the worksheet that you started class with, it looks like this. We've got about 5 minutes left. I want you to practice some of this. Now looking here, these first 2 tables look a little bit different because they're tables that go up and down instead of side to side. It's the same idea. This is my X value. The second one is my Y value. So looking at this one that's labeled number 9, what would be the first point that I would graph here? -4, 8. So I would go and graph -4, 8. Then I would graph -3, 6. While you're doing this, I'm going to pass out study guides, but we've got a couple minutes left for you to start this. This is not homework if you don't finish, though.